Well, thank you everybody for being here. This is just another special day for us at the University of Louisville. I was able to share with you, I believe it was late August after the 50-yard line dinner, about our upcoming project that we were going to be working on, the new stadium expansion to the north end zone, and then the redo of the Howard Schnellenberger complex that was so sorely needed. All this is coming as good news because we're coming to fruition. We have a lot more details that we can share with you. And after yesterday's signing party, we had a donor event in this room, and we're able to show this video that Mark and his staff have put together, and kind of leads us down the road of, we think this is significant progress for us. We think we're going to be able to move at a rapid pace. You know, obviously fundraising will dictate a lot of the timing part of it, but we feel very confident there's a lot of momentum, positive momentum in this program, and the job that Bobby's done in the 2 years he's been here, and where we feel we're headed, we think it's the right move and excited to move it on. So saying that, I've kind of put this all on Mark's shoulders. Him and his group have really dove into this for the last 4 or 5 months to make sure that this was going to be a reality. And so I applaud all of them. A lot of them are in this room, and the great hard work that they've done and the dedication that they've showed to this project. But I think this will be a real crown jewel to our football stadium. And you couple this with the new academic center that's going in there, I think all these additions are just very, very positive, not only for our university, but for our athletic department, for the community alone. So Mark, you take it over and you can answer all the questions, do whatever you want.
Great, thank you. Appreciate you guys being here today. You know, one of the things I think really kind of before I get started, we're really excited. We put together a nice video. Many of you guys have seen the images. I think we put those out there in late August. We worked with the company to help put together a 3D fly-through video that it kind of helped put it together, kind of put in perspective for you guys on kind of the magnitude of the project, and then certainly when it's over I can answer some more specifics on the campaign. So if we can cue the video, we can go ahead and get that played for you all. Wanted to show you guys that first, you know, really kind of before we get into the details, just because it's something that, as you can see, it really helps put in perspective on the size and the magnitude of the project that we're going to take on. This is something, as my dad mentioned, we've worked very hard on. We spent, you know, the last 18 months working with Johnson Consulting and doing a feasibility study to make sure that this is something we can do. You know, obviously, you don't want to build something just to build it. You know, we've got the demand, which is great, you know, of fan support to be there to do something like this. I think it's very unique to have an opportunity to do an expansion twice in a decade. You know, I can't imagine too many other places are doing something like that, and it speaks volumes to the support that we have from our community and from our fans. The campaign for us is really twofold. It's one, it's about enhancing the fan experience. We spent a lot of time looking and digging into, okay, here, making sure that with an expansion that we create, you know, some very great opportunities for seating for our fans. You know, looking at it, you saw we've got 12 field level suites. We've got 70 premium boxes. The premium boxes, to put in perspective, are very similar to what we have at the Yum Center. The exact same thing down there. We had great fan reaction from individuals that own those boxes. And then we're going to add nearly 1,000 club seats. All in total, we're going to have over 10,000 seats. That'll put our seating capacity to 65,000. One thing that we really wanted to do that was really important to us was making sure that this end zone expansion was going to be accessible to all fans, that it's going to, you know, putting us, like I said, at 65,000, everyone's going to have an opportunity to be there. You know, I think you look at the crunch zone right now, how many of our fans have, you know, I'd say probably 80% of people that originally purchased tickets there in 1998 still own those tickets, and so we're wanting to kind of duplicate that and kind of having a crunch zone 2.0 in that end zone, you know, really creating a dynamic environment for our fans. The second aspect that we wanted to do was enhancing the student-athlete experience. Structurally, we haven't touched the Schnellenberger complex since it opened in 1998. You know, the game and the focus on student-athletes has dramatically changed and shifted culturally over the last 20 years. A couple of the key elements that we're going to do, we're going to add nearly 40,000 square feet to the facility and renovate nearly 30,000 square feet. So all in total, we're going to have 70,000 square feet worth of new and renovated space to provide our student athletes with everything they need, from expanding the weight room by nearly 10,000 square feet, adding a hydrotherapy from training and medical purposes, and then certainly a couple things that Coach Petrino really wanted to have, adding a team room. That was something that was very important to him as our roster size has grown, and certainly as our staffs have grown. Being able to have an area where our guys can focus and watch film, study, break down. As you guys all know, Coach Petrino is such a student of the game. To be able to have that asset for him, one of the key elements that we're going to add as well is creating a student lounge, a student athlete lounge where they can go and decompress, kind of get away from football for a minute. They spend a lot of time at the complex, and it was very important for Coach Petrino that we had an area for students to be able just to go and take a breather. If you have some time off, to go and rest. I think, for us, it's a great project. We've worked really hard. My staff and our team have been out in the community and really talking to a lot of leaders in the community and getting a pulse and seeing if this is something, again, that is going to work for us. We did the feasibility study, which said, yes, this is something we can do, but more importantly was getting out in the community and asking and talking with our donors and our supporters to see if this is something we can do. And last night we hosted a small event to really kick off the campaign, and as you can imagine, the support was overwhelming. So this is something that we're excited to start, and as my dad mentioned, today is really kind of the kickoff to our campaign. Okay, with that, I guess I'll answer any questions you guys may have. Yes.
Mark, I know the timing you said was about. I know you said the timing was about the funding would kind of reveal the timeline, but do you have a goal in mind of when you want to get this up and running?
Certainly we want to be as aggressive as possible and get it started as soon as we can. Certainly knowing how important of a project it's going to be for our program, we want to get it done as soon as we can, but it'll all be dictated based off our fundraising efforts.
Mark, awesome video, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm wondering, is there any concern from you knowing that college football attendance is trending downwards right now when adding 10,000 seats?
It's certainly something that we discussed, but again, being out in the community and having a pulse on it and hearing from them, seeing the kind of demand that we have from a wait list, from a season ticket perspective, I'd be lying to you if I said it wasn't, we didn't think about it, but our current demands and everything else, support us moving forward with this facility.
Have you guys sold some suites or some? Oh, I'm sorry. Have you sold some, club seats or some of these field level suites? Have they already, had some commitments from people to buy those?
We haven't sold any seats. That was something we wanted to do last night, was kind of the first initial kickoff. I think that since late August, my staff, our development team has just been out in the community, sharing the project, talking about it, and getting people excited. So we're going to start today. Today's kind of was really our internal start date as well for those. And so what we're going to do is we're going to approach all Cardinal Athletic Fund members. We're going to give them priority first. And in addition to just what you saw with the seats, like I said, the other major component of the campaign is, the renovations and the addition to the Schnellenberger complex. And so it was very important that we get a chance to be able to share that story individually with each of our donors and fans.
Are there set prices on the things already, or is it sort of just kind of what people may offer, or how's it work?
No, we're still identifying the correct price points. It's a work in progress, but I think as I mentioned earlier, it's one thing that we certainly wanted to do is make it accessible to all fans, from every area within the facility.
Steve, the pricing will be very consistent to what we've done around the entire building.
Tom, can you talk about what this means for you to see it come full circle?
Oh, I just think it's another great addition for the project. And I think it was a very good question that Spence asked about, adding 10,000 seats. We would not do this project if we didn't feel it was feasible or didn't make a lot of sense for us. And we really looked at that. There's going to be a lot of amenities in an end zone project. Most times you see an end zone, it's bowling it in and just having bench seats. This is going to have everything. It's going to have every bell and whistle. And basically, as I said in August, these ideas didn't just come from me or Mark. I stole these from Dallas Cowboy Stadium in Seattle. That's where this whole thing is coming from. So it's going to have those type of amenities. I think one thing that we really should highlight is, I think as much as everybody loves this club and the Brown and Williamson Club, that club over there is going to be simply outstanding because of not only the size of it, but the view of downtown is going to be phenomenal, and how it overlooks the entire campus, so the community will be able to use it. But to answer your question, Jody, I just think it showed how aggressive this program has been. I think our coaching staffs, whether it was from John L. all the way through to Bobby, we've really grown. And I think, Howard came in here with a great vision, and I think we've been able to build on it, and we want to continue to do it. And I feel very, very confident and comfortable that we're going in the right direction.
To your point, how many different designs did you have, or was this it from the beginning? Or
No, we had a lot, Tony. We had a lot. Mark, he worked with the architects nonstop on this thing, and you probably had 7 or 8 at least, didn't you?
At least, yeah.
Then who just, was there a committee, or you guys just said that's the best one?
Well, we have a real good architect that really has done so much of this entire complex, and so we really rely on him a lot. And he's a very creative guy. He's done a lot of NFL stadiums around the country and a lot of big projects, but he kind of helped us settle on this one.
And moving to the ACC, you think that obviously had a lot to do with this, and the new schedule and the new guys coming in town helped push this along the way?
If we were in the American, I don't think we would be looking at that right now. I think we'd be putting this on hold, but I think the ACC has been an incredible shot in the arm for this entire community for us, and it's certainly exceeded all of our expectations. It really has. It's helped us, and it's a great thing about the ACC too is it's really fueled our fan base, and I think that was something that I'll always look back and be most grateful for. It's been a great home for all of our sports, a great home for the university itself, but I think it's been awesome for our fan base.
Mark, you stressed the importance of making it accessible to everybody in the stadium. Aside from the suite, owners and those people, what's something that the average fan will recognize or notice with the new amenities? What's something the everyday fan will see when they walk in to the stadium and first see this project?
I think the biggest thing that you'll notice, especially, is we're going to build a terrace that'll connect the east to the west side, just like we have over here at the Norton Terrace. And we've had such a great response from that area. I mean, you see it on a game basis. I mean, it's jam-packed. And so we wanted to be able to duplicate that and creating a gathering area for all our fans. Great viewing angles, and also just to be able to go and watch a game and have fun. So that'll probably be the biggest thing that you would notice.
Mark, I noticed in some of the drawings you have back here, it mentions a parking garage. Can you explain where that is in the project? And was that something that was added since August? Because and maybe it was there, I just don't remember. But I don't remember seeing that in the original conceptuals.
It's always been a part of the project. It's something that we asked, and the way that we were able to design the facility. Certainly parking is always at a premium, so we added the architect to be able to create a few spaces within that facility for us to have.
Mark or Tom, either one, just kind of, again, about the attendance. I mean, a couple games this year that didn't get 50,000 people, or was there a game? I mean, what did you think when you saw a game like that and knew that you're trying to add to a 65,000 seat stadium?
Well, I think you're always going to have those ebb and flows. The thing that we're looking at is we want to make sure that we're prepared for when the big games are here, and the games that are extremely important to our fan base, because we know that they're always going to come out and want to be a part of it. In recruiting, it's an arms race. We know that, and we can't hide from that. But we wanted to make sure that we were very smart in the way we did it. I did not want to go backwards. I want to go forward, and I want to be progressive, and I think that helps us a lot. I think in our new conference, though, I think we're going to have so many great opportunities to fill this stadium that it's going to pay many, many, many dividends.
Mark, you're finishing up on the other end of the stadium. Can you just update that for a second? Is the academic center on track?
It is on track. We got a note today saying that it's on track, and it should be ready for occupancy on July 15th. So it's moving along, and it's something that, again, we couldn't be more excited about.
And Tom, you can't do this without a good product on the field. Can you just talk about what Bobby has done and maybe the future for him and different, any chance to rework his contract, or is that even in a thing right now?
Well, I think, first thing about Bobby, we like Mark said, this is Project 2.0 or whatever, the End Zone 2.0. This is Bobby 2.0. And I think all of you have had a chance to experience that up front. and close with him, and he's done a terrific job. And I think everything that I could have ever dreamed of him doing here, he's doing. He's done everything the right way. He's been very engaging, not only to the community, but to the media. I think his recruiting's done fantastic for us. He gets the type of kids he wants, and he's doing it on the field. And I couldn't be more appreciative. As I said to the group last night, one of my highlight moments ever of Bobby Petrino was this year. You know, that exceeds all the Orange Bowls and the great wins and even the loss at Miami when they were #1 in the country. The thing that I was so impressed with him this year about was when we were 0-3. Because that's where I like to judge people. And I like to characterize people and see just how they're going to react when things are down, when chips are down. And you all know that that season could have turned the other way. And for him to finish up winning 8 out of the last 10 games, really had a lot of question marks on a very young team. We were probably, Rocco would know better, but I think we were probably one of the youngest teams in the country. And for him to finish the way he did and to be able to go in and do what he did in the Music City Bowl against a team that was loaded with 5-star talent, was loaded. I thought we dominated that game. I thought the score wasn't indicative of the finish. But I like the momentum that we've got going. I like the type of staff he's accruing. I like the type of kids he's getting. I like how the community is behind him. I love so much how the ex-players are behind him. That really plays into my philosophy is, are you doing the right things if the ex-players like you? Because they're the most critical that we have. They're much more critical than the fan bases, and they just love having him back here. As far as his contract, Jody, I am. That's something I'm going to do right away. I want to extend his contract. I told him that a couple days ago. I think he's earned that. This is the Bobby 2.0 that wants to be here, and that's what I've always wanted. I want coaches that want to be here, and he wants to be here. Him and his family and his kids and grandkids and everybody are all settled in. And that's what I like. I think every decision that I see in Bobby 2.0, every decision he's making is for the long term. And I think that's a great asset to have in anything you do, whether in life, business, anything you want to do. And he's earned it, and I want to keep him here for as long as he'll stay.
Tom, what was the donor reaction to expanding the stadium, and what kind of feedback have you gotten from them?
Well, we locked the doors, so they couldn't get out last night. But it's all been very, very positive. And people, Mark was a little bit modest in talking about sales to Steve, but there's a lot of commitments. So there have already been pledges and things. We haven't taken any money yet for seats because we wanted today to be the official kickoff. Like I said, when we saw you in August, we just had renderings on this. Now we've got a lot more meat in the deal, and we know we're going forward with it, and it's going to happen. But I think it's been over, in my opinion, much more than I thought, much more positive than I thought. And I thought it would be positive, but this has been great.
And Mark, what happens to the Johnny Unitas statue out there?
That's something that we've really deliberated on a lot. And I think what we'd like to do is we'd like to kind of put it out to the fans and hear their suggestions on what they'd like to do. This is for them. The statue's for them, and to be able to celebrate. I think, I love where it is now. It's great. The team is able to, to kind of like with Howard's Rock at Clemson, are able to touch it as they go out and it's become part of our tradition. But, the one thing that's been tough for us is our fans haven't been able to access it. And so that's something that we certainly want to do, is have our fans be able to take pictures and really have an opportunity to see it on a daily basis. So, we are certainly open for suggestions on where to put it. I've had a couple great recommendations already from some fans, and certainly are open for more. But we do want to make it very public and open to our fans.
In addition to that, probably one of the single most complaints we got about this entire stadium was that statue being inside, and they couldn't get to it. So we would like to really put it somewhere it's going to be accessible to everybody, because everybody wants to pose with it for pictures and things like that. So that'll be a huge part of our decision. And your decision. You guys will be as involved as we are.
Tom, time after time, you guys have exceeded expectations with every project that you've done. For $55 million, this looks phenomenal. I'm wondering, how are you able to stretch a dollar as well as you guys do? Was that sort of a challenge with this one?
It is, but we wanted to do it right because we believe in the wow factor, and we believe in selling the wow factor, because I think, not only from a recruiting standpoint, but I think from our community pride standpoint, people want to see something that's special. Like I said, the easiest thing we could have done, Spence, is just close with a bowl and just have bleacher seats in there, and just like every other stadium you see. But the character of this stadium and the name brand of this stadium, Papa John's, the people around this nation know, first of all, Papa John's. That resonates with them. Second of all, they know it's all chairbacks. So we wanted to make sure that was incorporated. We want to make sure the red seats were incorporated. We wanted to make sure that we did something much different than just a normal end zone project. That's why you'll see the players coming through a lounge when they're coming out, pretty much like they do in Dallas, coming through that bar setup. Now, ours might have something to do with pizza, I hope, but they're going to go through something like that, and it's going to be fun. So that's why we really focused in on putting so many amenities in, but we're also very cost efficient. And that's the one thing that we've always said to architects. I think every one of our projects that we've done, we've always looked at the numbers and make sure that we're able to do it, but make sure it makes sense.
Tom, you keep on getting guys like Elvis, joining Johnny down for Cards Walk or something like that. You keep putting 10 guys in the NFL draft every year. That will help too. With that in mind, I noticed this. I thought it looked like Seattle Stadium. Does that have any kind of sound effect? And the second thing I want, you guys are already ahead of the curve of most of the ACC members, I think, in stadium. This just progresses that, I think. When a kid comes here from Georgia or Florida, Virginia or something, and sees that, they got to be amazed. This is Louisville. They probably had no idea what you guys have done here.
You hear that on and on all the time, and and you've seen all those stadiums, and a lot of them are just big stadiums with bleacher seats. I think we all got a taste of that when we went to Notre Dame. When we got a chance to see that. Yeah, that's the most famous stadium, arguably, in the country, but it couldn't hold a candle to this place. And I think the amenities that our fans have, and that when our players come and see that wow factor, it's really special to them. And that's why. That is from the Seattle Stadium. And it makes a lot of sense. I don't know about the sound, Tony. I don't know about that piece. But it's going to be a lot of fun.
Thomas, I guess, just specifically, in general, what would you say is the goal for when it could really, I know you said it's all dependent on fundraising, both you guys, but is there a certain
Well, it's
thing?
probably going to be at least 2 years in building it. So, and then we're going to have to dodge seasons, so there's going to be a timing factor in it. But, I think if we could have this open in the 18 or 19 season, I think that would be a good goal to have. And I know the 19 season makes a lot of sense for us. I'd like it to be quicker, but I would like it done yesterday too. And I know it's just not going to be a reality. But the 19 season, we opened that Labor Day Monday night, just like we did with Miami a couple of years ago. That's going to be the Notre Dame game. So I think we would be able to fill those seats.
Is there any public money at all at this point?
They haven't shown us any yet.
I know.
In fact, all the projects that we've done, I've never seen any, so I would anticipate that we probably won't see any.
Mark, you talked, and for Tom also, you talked about the building or for the fans, but talk about the building, and like you said, you haven't done anything to that structurally since it opened, and how important that will be for recruiting and for kind of the ACC arms race there. And then also, what happens when you're building that with the program, and will they have to be somewhere else for, the time that you're building it?
Talking with Coach Petrino was, we sat down and asked him, okay, what's your wish list? What do you want? If we're going to do this expansion, certainly we want to make sure and do it right. What were some items that were important to him? And first thing, he said he wanted to have, an expanded weight room, which, we've more than doubled. Secondly, he said he wanted to have a bigger team room. And, so we're going to build a new team room. We're going to have adjacent offices there for offense to be able to use. We're going to repurpose the old team meeting room, make that specifically for defense. Take the current individual meeting rooms, enlarge and make them bigger, and specifically for defense. And then third was really, again, going back kind of to the student welfare, was he wanted to have the players' lounge. He said to me, that's as important of anything that we do. I want to have that there for them. And certainly as we go through, and like I said, if we're adding 40,000 square feet and renovating 30,000, there will be, I won't say a little bit of growing pains, but that's something that is going to happen. He understands it exactly. We don't have, logistically have it worked out yet, but they know we'll have to kind of be patient with them for a couple months.
Does that start first, or is there a plan yet on how will the stadium, you said you'll have to dodge the seasons, but will that building be first, or do you think the stadium will be first, or is there a plan yet?
We don't have a plan just yet. Everything that we've talked about has been doing it concurrently, doing it all together, which I think makes probably the most sense. The key for us right now certainly is the fundraising. once we're able to raise the necessary funds, we'll put the project out for bid, and then we'll have some of the construction companies put together a timeline and a time frame for us to review.
And they'll pretty much dictate that to us, Jody.
Tom, you brought up the subject of the red seats, and I know that was included in the long-range wish list. What's the plan on replacing the current seats? Or getting rid of the pink seats is what I'm getting at.
Pink seats are very popular, so we've had a lot of people inquire about those. So, no, we don't have any plans to replace those right now. That would be, I think, an unnecessary expense at this time. I'd rather put that money into the new building right now. And if all we have to do is fill the seats, and nobody will know that they're pink.
Mark, those video boards that we see right there, exactly how big are those, and are they comparable right now to any stadium that that your fans might notice?
We asked the architect. Basically, what you'd see there is the current size that we have right now, having two of those. Does that make sense? Having two of the.
How big are they going to be in relation to?
Well, to look at this one, just put two of those. The one out in the end zone.
That one.
It's
have
two
one
of
on each
those.
side.
And they'll be both of them that size.
One thing that we're talking about momentum and going into the project. One thing I'm excited to share with you all is we have secured a few large gifts. Planet Fitness and Rick and David Keeper gave a $3 million gift to help us get started, and then this week we were able to finalize a deal to name the club over the expanded club, and it's going to be the Pepsi. So Pepsi gave a $5 million gift to name the club. So we've got some great momentum, and certainly our team is going to continue to push. We want to be aggressive. We want to get it done. So to have those two gifts is a great start for us, and we've been very appreciative of their continued support. They've been with us for a long time.